You know, in the beginning of the year, beginning of the season, and sometimes even at the end of the season, people get water in their gasoline. And, you know, a lot of people ask me, Arch, how is that? I just put fresh gas in my can. Or I just put fresh gas in my lawnmower. How can I be getting water? And sometimes it's actually a long conversation because I'll explain it a bunch of different ways and they still kind of, their eyes roll and like, I just don't get it. We're going to cover that in this episode. And also, for those Honda-powered lawnmowers or Honda lawnmowers, there's a little trick when it comes to putting gas in one of those engines. And you may not be putting gas in your engine properly. And if you think, well, what are you talking about, Archie? You know, you just put gas in, right? How much harder are they going to make it on me? Well, there is a little tip, so stay tuned and we'll find out. Let's get started. All out. All right, fellas. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on, why this happens. Okay, so I got lots of these. These are all like Briggs gas tanks. It doesn't matter whether it's a Briggs tank or a Tecumseh tank or a Honda tank. Pretty much the problem is in the gas cap. It's in the gas cap. Some newer Briggs tanks on the E-Series, right? They actually have a little like teat that sticks out and it goes into the air cleaner. It's not really filtered or anything. It's just out of the way, and it's got a vent. They're vented. The caps are vented. So they even tried for a little while. This is a specialty vented cap, and we'll get a closer look at this in a minute. This actually has, I think this one has charcoal in it. Most of the Honda tanks, and we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. I'm going to show you a little excerpt from another really video excerpt about the Honda and what can go wrong with a Honda gas tank cap. There's carbon in there, and that's to capture some of the vapors, and that can get clogged. And if that gets clogged with water in it, or even fuel, if you overfill some of these tanks, it can splash up in there, and what'll happen is it won't breathe. And if it can't breathe, then the tank, you start to pull a vacuum on the tank, and the fuel gets stuck in the tank, and then your engine will shut off, and it'll drive you nuts. You'll think there's something major wrong with it, and it's not. But getting back to the caps, this is just a different type of cap. This is more standard old school cap. This is just a regular vented cap. Some of them have, you'll see some of the two-strokers, they'll have like a little pressure valve in there. It's vented to atmosphere. Now, I had one customer recently, he just could not understand how much water got into his tank. I just had a customer the other day, he understood. He knew where he left it, he knew why he got water in it. And of course, living here, I'm about 2 miles from the bay, and sometimes you'll actually see the fog roll right in, right? And thick as pea soup. Yesterday it rained. I think this morning it rained, very early this morning. Yesterday it rained. It got a little nicer yesterday. I was able to cut the lawn. It was still kind of dark, a little partly cloudy. Today it's partly cloudy. It was very dry for a while. Then we get all this rain. It's soaked into the ground, and it's hot and sticky today. I got to turn the AC back on and blow a fan in here. I just shut them off just to record this. It's sticky as hell. And then in the wintertime, we'll get days where, it's dry. So very hot air holds humidity, as we know, right? You look at the humidity level on a very warm day, depending on where you are. I'm also down by sea level, so the pressure is very high, right? I don't know, something like 12 pounds or something. I forget what it is in bar on a really nice day. It's very high pressure with a lot of water in it. Now, a very cold air and the freezing cold, there's no water vapor in it. It's like very low, 20-30% humidity, maybe less. And then what we'll get here is it'll rain. Sometimes it rains right before it snows, and it freezes. And then it might be 50 degrees a day or two later. A lot of times it snows at 40-something degrees. So this is 24/7, 365. So, well, let's say 365. So let's say we have a bad winter, and that could be 4 to 6 months of you not cutting your lawn. So you cut your lawn and you do all this other stuff at least half the year. The other half of the year, your equipment's sitting somewhere, and if it's outside at all or in a thin shed, my shed's very thick, wood shed, but there's usually a vent. If the window's not open, the vent is 2 soffit vents. They don't have big openings, but it's enough to have a bit of air transfer. And that air is laden with water. That water is working its way under the cap because of equalization of pressures. On a hotter day, whatever fuel that you leave in here, let's say it's about halfway full, on a hot day, the pressure is going to build up. And some of it's going to escape, but it's going to remain relatively high pressure. But when it gets cold or at night, the pressure is going to come down. Two things happen. One, you guys know the dew point comes up or in the early morning. Also, as that pressure comes down, it's going to suck some air in from the outside to try to balance the vessel, balance the container. And that air is going to be laden with moisture. And as I've explained earlier, is that affinity that alcohol has for water. And it's going to pull it from wherever it can. It's going to seek it out, pull it in. All right, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Let's keep moving. All right, it's the end of the day. And you see what I mean? How it's settled? Just that dirty water in the bottom. Somehow it got in there, and that was all the trouble. Ooh, don't photograph me. See? Oh, you can see the spots, guys. Let me turn the light on. See? So that's what's in her tank, as we suspected. Shoot there. Right, to try to capture me. Just grab it good. So you don't have to press anything. All you have to do is like aim to where I'm working. All right. All right, guys. So we got junk was in there. We put super clean in here. Dumped out the junk. Super clean hose, sloshed it around, blew it out with the air compressor. Then I just put gas in. After blowing it out, and let's see, it should have picked up some water. It didn't pick up any dirt, so we got all the dirt out. And there wasn't much water left. I might be able to get all of it. So let's see. All right, just Christy's on the camera, guys.
Oh, Kirsty. We thought we'd lost you.
So sweet of you to come back.
How can it send us back, child? We're already here. And so are you.
Not Kirsty. Christy. Or she says Chrissy. Not Kirsty. Shoot in there a little bit. This was clean. Just a little bit. There's a little drop of water there. And there's some water on the table, see? All right. I'm going to blow it with the air compressor a little bit more, and we're done. I just wanted to mention, and I think I forgot to make it a little clear, if you look in the Honda filler, look down into the gas tank, and there's that little red cage. It looks like a cage. And I just don't have one handy. I don't feel like getting one, but you'll see it in there. And you see it in the picture that I show as I'm narrating. So when I mention that don't overfill it, that's a cage. So you fill the tank up to the bottom of that little red cage. I'm calling it a cage because it's just a little red thing that sort of sticks in there, and a lot of people are probably wondering, what is that for, right? If you read the manual, no, we don't read manuals over here. Yeah, I know. Nobody reads manuals. Like a lot of times I don't read manuals, right? But we should learn to read, and I'm here to help you guys out. So just put gas in up to about, the bottom of that cage. Don't fill it all the way up to the top where the gas filler is. In fact, it's probably not a good idea to fill all the way up to the top anyway. However, there is another thing I'd like to mention, that some people empty their gas tanks out, which is a great idea. Empty it out at the end of the year, end of the season, before it gets really cold. I know nobody does this, right? Because the holidays come and you get busy and you think, I'm going to do it this weekend. It's going to be nice. And it's not nice out. And you're busy with holidays. And then your partner says, let's go over here. Let's go over there. And the kids are screaming or whatever. But if you can manage to dump out the gas and run the engine for a little while, and the engine will run out of gas in the fuel system and all that, and you'll probably be okay. There's another way around it too, though, is that you can fill your gas up, put a little oil in the gasoline, maybe a little two-stroke. You can actually just fill it with two-stroke if you have two-stroke laying around. Fill your lawnmower up with two-stroke, run it for a little while, and bring it all the gas in the gas tank all the way up to the top. All the way. So there's no room for air to get in there and sit, because whatever air that's winding up inside your gas tank, because it's vented, is going to be air like here, foggy, raining, it'll freeze, and then when it's, as it warms up, imagine this, right? You get a dew point. So
it gets really, really cold at night, really cold. And maybe we have like a really, solid week of super cold weather and everything's freezing over. And your lawnmower and the gas in there is just absolutely freezing cold. And then comes a couple of nice days. And, today was nice. The other day was nice. If it hits 50 or 45 and it's in your shed in the dark and the outside air suddenly is warm at about 45, 50, 55 degrees. That tank and that lawnmower is going to stay cold for a really long time, and the dew will form. And the water will drop out of that now humid, warmer air and kind of get pulled into that tank, especially as when the temperatures equalize, the air pressure equalizes, okay? And so that's how you get the transfer of air as well. The pressure trying to equalize from cold to warm, right? You're going to get a movement of air in that. And it's happening every day, every night of every month that our machines are sitting. I'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully this was helpful. Artist Garage.